friends, let's all settle in. If you will just get to a spot that feels right for you, allow the body to settle, allow the eyes to close or the gaze to soften, and just usher yourself into this present moment. Each of us on our own, just finding a gentle breath in and a gentle breath out, adjusting the body if it needs to adjust. And for these first few breaths, just be. Truly, just allow yourself to just be. We live incredibly busy lives. No matter what stage of life we are in, no matter what age we are, what things we engage in, we are just busy people. From the busyness of the physical use of our hands and our time, to the busyness in our minds, to the busyness that we feel even in our energy. That's why moments like this are so critical. They're critical to the health of our physical body. They're critical to the health of our mind. But even beyond those, it's critical to the health of our spirit. If our energy stays at this frenetic, busy state all the time, our spirit feels it. And so again, just allow yourself to just be. And as we're settling and we're finding the right pace of breath for each of us, just collectively joining our energy together for these few minutes, practicing being present. As we are embarking upon a new month, and a seasonal shift and all kinds of things happening, there's a new moon tomorrow, we are ready to embark on a new focus for our time. And for the coming days, maybe even the coming weeks, we'll just kind of see how things unfold. I'd like us just to sit with a type of yoga. No, we're not going to get on a mat. We're not going to physically move our bodies. There's so many forms of yoga. There's so many tools that are offered to us. But I'd like for us in this meditation time over the coming days to begin to sit with and cultivate, and for some of us, remind ourselves about this yoga that's called karma. And so for today, what I'd like us to do is just kind of dispel some of the ideas that the world has about this concept of karma. It's been around for a very long time, longer even than the yoga that we're so used to doing on a yoga mat. This karma yoga, thousands of years ago, this idea was whispered into the ears of some of the great teachers, and then they whispered into the ears of their students, and then people began to write it down. And now today, we are so lucky to have all these teachings that help us to understand that yoga is not just something we do on a mat. It's something that informs every facet of our being. Yoga, we're doing it now. We're seated. We're concentrating and focusing on this present moment. We're noticing our breath. We're being aware. All of these things are part of yoga. Union. Bringing all the parts of us into harmony together. And I want to use this idea of karma yoga as a way to really give us a strong foundation for our practice. To give us tangible tools that go beyond this moment here on this cushion or in this seat, wherever you are. They begin to permeate all the parts of the rest of the day. Oftentimes in our world, especially our contemporary world, this idea of karma, people think it's something along the lines of you get what you deserve. You get what you put out. But the teachings from so long ago tell us that that's not how karma works. That's not karma yoga. So tonight we're going to just kind of think about the understanding of what it is and see if our lens, our view can begin to shift. Karma yoga is action. It's the right action. And from this way of being that this meditation practice really helps us to cultivate and to nurture, it's the kind of action that helps us to fulfill our purpose. We've talked a lot about Dharma over the days together. We've sat and asked the question a lot, what is my purpose? Well, Karma Yoga is our action toward that beautiful purpose that we each have. And for some of us, we're still grappling with it. We're still trying to figure that out. We're still asking the questions. But there's a big purpose for all of us. There's a unified purpose for all of us, all 8 billion of us. And Karma Yoga tells us that action, that purpose, is to do our very best to remove the suffering of others, to do our very best to help others live happy, healthy, safe, peaceful lives. And so just imagine if I'm doing that for you, and you're doing that for me, and I'm doing that for the people that I work with, and you're doing that for the people that you work with, what kind of world are we creating? Just imagine. That's Karma Yoga. Selfless, beautiful action that lessens the suffering of humanity. All we have to do is turn on the news or a social media feed and we see suffering everywhere. We see it most recently in this aftermath of this hurricane. We see it across the globe with the fighting and the conflict. Suffering is there. And so we look out and we think, it's big. It's a lot. How do I begin to even take one step toward making a dent in all that suffering? So what I'd like us to do is just begin to kind of feel, almost like there's a sphere around us, this sphere of influence. These people that we touch the lives of every day, the people you interact with, the traffic patterns that you have as you drive in the same places into the same directions each day. We have this sphere of influence. So maybe we won't go across the other side of the globe and begin to impact the trauma and the suffering there. We'll start right here. This sphere, all the places that our action reaches, in our thoughts, in our words, in our actions, let's let that be how our Karma Yoga begins. It's in our home. It's at school. It's in our workplace. It's on the highway. So how do we do it? Yes, our heart breaks and we want to help. But there's this one piece that we've got to really sit with before we embark upon this practice of Karma Yoga. It has to do with our eyes. How we see the world. How we see the 7.999 billion others. The eyes that we look upon them with. Because the way that we begin to act from a place of Karma Yoga says that when we see others, we see ourselves. And if we believe that there's a divine presence, maybe you call it God, maybe you call this presence by another name, maybe you see it as the universe, the cosmos, whatever name you ascribe to this presence, this force that's bigger than you. Well, Karma Yoga says that when we look at each other, we got to see that same force, that same light, that same presence in them. And that's where the action gets a little tough. I don't doubt that our heart breaks when we see suffering. But can we look at all people on this planet and see ourselves in them? Even the ones that we don't agree with, the ones that have actions that cause harm, the ones we don't even know. Well, karma yoga isn't just about union for ourselves. It is about this union of humanity. There's just one us. And so I'd like to share just some words from one of the greatest teachers we've ever had, Thich Nhat Hahn, this wonderful spiritual teacher who had conversations about humanity with Dr. Martin Luther King. And they talked about their dream of this oneness. He suffered through the Vietnam War and still lived a life of peace. And these words from this poem that I want to share with us and that I want us just to sit with, they really challenge us to change our eyes, our lens, how we see all those 7.9 something billion people out there. And so as I read the words of Thich Nhat Hanh's poem, maybe you'll see this visual in your mind as I describe the things that he describes. And what I would invite you to do, because this happens to me every time, if there's one part as I share his words from his heart, from his spirit, if there's one description that you feel it just kind of catches in your heart, notice that. Just be aware of it. It's not something to act on or to worry about, but just notice how his descriptions, his words about how we see humanity, notice how they impact you, how they make you feel. And through it all, just continue a slow, beautiful, gentle in and out breath. He says, please call me by my true names. Don't say that I'll depart tomorrow. Even today, I'm still arriving. Look deeply. Every second, I'm arriving. I'm a bud on a spring branch. To be a tiny bird with still fragile wings, learning to sing in my new nest. To be a caterpillar in the heart of a flower. To be a jewel hiding itself in a stone. I still arrive in order to laugh and to cry and to fear and to hope. The rhythm of my heart is the birth and the death of all that is alive. I am a mayfly, metamorphosing on the surface of the river. And I'm the bird that swoops down and swallows the mayfly. I'm a frog swimming happily in the clear water of the pond. And I'm the grass snake who silently feeds itself on the frog. I am the child in Uganda, skin and bones, my legs as thin as bamboo sticks. And I'm the arms merchant selling weapons to Uganda. I am a 12-year-old girl, a refugee on a small boat, who throws herself into the ocean after being attacked by a sea pirate. And I'm the pirate, my heart not yet capable of seeing and loving. I'm a member of the Politburo with power in my hands, and I'm the man who has to pay his debt of blood to my people who are dying slowly in a labor camp. My joy is like spring, so warm that it makes flowers bloom all over the earth. My pain is like a river of tears, so vast that it fills the four oceans. Please call me by my true names, so I can hear all my cries and laughter at once, so that I can see that my joy and my pain are one. Please call me by my true names, so I can wake up and the door of my heart would be left open toward the door of compassion. So I would just invite us all to just let these heavy words just hold space. And for the next couple of minutes of quiet, just see if your vision, your lens, your eyes are willing to change, are willing to see humanity a little differently. You know, in contemporary times, we see trauma all around us. We see the suffering. We could add words to his poem about the struggle going on in Israel and the Middle East right now, and the decisions being made by people every day against each other. We could add lines about our way of living in this country and the way it's affecting our climate and the amount of hurricanes and disasters that we're seeing every season. So we can keep changing the face. But as Thich Nhat Hahn says, call us by our names. See all of us. The pain and the joy, the tears and the laughter, see it all as one. Because when you can do that, you'll begin to realize there's just one humanity. There's just one us. And as we prepare to close our time and return to our activity of our day, of our evening, I would encourage us just for these last few breaths together, that if it feels right for you, just bring one hand and place it on your heart. Karma yoga is not about them. Karma yoga is about me. It's my lens, it's my view of the world. I'm not waiting for the bad people to experience suffering and consequence. I'm waiting for the moment that my eyes can see that we are all the same. Humanity, oneness. And my hope and my prayer for our yoga practice that we practice here right now in meditation is that we won't just see the word yoga, union, as something for ourselves, but over these days together, little by little, we'll begin to see it really is about the union for us all. That's a world I'd like to imagine living in. And I have a feeling it's a world that you'd like to imagine as well. Karma yoga, it's about me. Namaste.